The first week of September has been a blessing for mobile gaming, as it was pretty much the case with the previous months as well. I've already made a few videos regarding the new releases, but as always, there's more. That's it. Here's a dozen of new games released these past few days, ready to go for your Android and iOS devices that are free all the way. This is the only game I believe all of you should try. Rated and awarded as the #1 downloaded RPG of the year by the Google Play team itself. #1 we have here also the most anticipated game of the year, the one and only Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. This game finally went live globally just 48 hours ago, and ever since it's downloaded almost 1 million times in only Western regions. I do believe it's a must-play for any fan of the series. The game has a divine soundtrack, the art style is lovable, and gameplay all around as intriguing as a mobile game could be. It's playable online, and the whole thing's about 1.4 gigabytes in total. If you're keen to the Dragon Raha games, you probably know it's one of the biggest MMORPGs on the platform. It's been out for years, and the reviews go off the charts when it comes to replay value in this game. Now, that doesn't stop there, as its developers just came out to release the game all over again in a smaller package and size, which instead of 50 gigabytes is now 4 gigabytes in total. It's running smoother, it's got optimized gameplay and some more in-game content. It's available worldwide, it's rated a 5 out of 5 just now, and this is how it looks. Available on TapTap and a few more websites. And #3, we have one of the biggest AAA action RPGs of the year with over 2 years of development that finally made it out in its alpha phase. If you missed it, we have Ying. So this is almost an Elden Ring inspired narrative gaming nature. It's almost a PlayStation exclusive in feel. It's a real-time hack and slasher and an adventure in pace. It's an online game at about 5 gigabytes in total. This is legit in-game footage. Downloaded almost 1 million times worldwide. Unfortunately, still in Japanese, but nothing really to worry. It's actually coming out rather soon, we hear, in English. We have an RPG adventure, a little bit of a card style and action game here called Brave. I've had my fair share of pixel art games this year, and I can tell you without a doubt that this is absolutely the father of them all in quality. You can play this game globally, but you need a translator app to be able to understand what it says. It's about 1 gigabytes in total, online and free all the way. Netmarble just released their next mobile 7 Nights game, going by 7 Nights Idle Adventure. And you might find it hard to believe, but since just days ago, this thing's downloaded almost 1 million times on the Play Store. This new game has been reimagined just in formula. There's a whole new story arc, over 140 7-night heroes. There's 10 vs 10 PvP arena fights, more challenges, quests, you name it. This, I can confirm, is literally the most addicting game in the list that's also free.
Enter a fierce battle.
If you missed out on its news, Rise of Firstborn, which is one of the famous real-time tactical PvP mobile games on the platform, just went on and got itself a huge update. I mean, that's a DLC, not an update. Adding a lot of new content in addition to adjusting the gameplay and fixing a few bugs that it was suffering lately. Hopefully you're familiar with the game, but if you're not, nothing to worry about. Just like I said, it's a strategy RPG with over 1 million downloads and some of the best visuals for its type. That's about 200 megabytes in total as well. The game's free and of course playable online.
Strategize, battle, rule, rise of Firstborn.
#7, we have Vikings Valhalla, free. With or without a Netflix membership, you can actually play this one too. It's one of the best strategy games based on the Viking Valhalla Netflix series. I mean, it's probably the only one too, that started like last year. On top of that, it now has an original story, a campaign, village raids, of course, history-accurate battles, and in my opinion, it's just an S-tier mobile game, especially with the visuals for a strategy mobile game with such size. The whole thing's about 250 megabytes in total. Game's rated a 4.8 out of 5 and is playable both online and offline. Couple days ago, AccessWire, the fine Korean developers, finally released the global version of Infinity Saga X. They're trying to invite more players to play their collectible, or rather tactical RPG that they've been cooking. I mean, it's a collectible game because it's built on the blockchain, and for that reason alone, it's getting so much attention ever since. This game has very well designed characters, there's building and strategy elements incorporating into strategy, and I really mean it. The game has probably the biggest customization options for this type of game.
On Gummel planet where all people will transfer into female warriors, traces of Jen's power have appeared.
With over 50,000 downloads and a 4.6 in rating, and number 9 we have Gen ZX. The Last War. Well, this game is basically a turn-based RPG adventure with rather cartoony graphics and a very fast-paced and enjoyable gameplay on top of a real story. That's about a multiverse war where little Gen Z people are becoming very demanding. There's over 150 characters in this game to get. It's a really well-designed game too, if you ask me. The whole thing's about 1 GB in total and of course playable online. Available on the Play Store since last week. At number 10 we have Knights of Pen and Paper 3, formerly released a PC game for the price of $15 that is now out there for free. I mean, there are ways you can play it for free, use the links down in the description. Anyway, this game is a turn-based retro-style pixel art adventure that's coming from a very good place too. The problem with this game is that it's a little buggy, but nothing really to worry as developers are releasing patches almost weekly. Although available through its pre-registration phase since yesterday, with over 10,000 signed testers already, we have Strikers 1945, which you can probably tell already it's a arcade bullet hell shooter, but a little less fantasy than per se the R-type games. It's like basically a mix of Ace Combat with obstacle-based stages and a nice little dose of upgradable and unlockables. Game's about half a gigabyte in total. However, if Strikers 1945 that we just mentioned wasn't really quite right up your alley, we've got another arcade action shooter or bullet hell with more fantasy elements here called a Galaxy Shooter. This one's coming from an indie developer, and since just yesterday it's downloaded almost 10,000 times, which is honestly not nothing for this type of game. My favorite part about this game is the boss fights. The boss fights are really cool. The campaign is playable online and offline and actually supports a controller. And last but not least, it's from the famous developers of Beastlord, a new game here called Legends of the Wild. This is without a doubt one of the most unique looking idle strategy RPGs I've seen all year. The characters are all basically anthropomorphic animals with a design of a game as big as Baldur's Gate. For real. This whole thing is about 1 GB in total. The game is unrated as the word can really suggest, sitting on Google Play alone and playable only online.